Welcome back to the Lighting Controls Podcast here live at LightFair 2025 down in Las Vegas. Right now I've got Chris Wolgamott from NEEA. Chris, what's going on? Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for asking. I'm excited. It's been fun. What a week.
Yeah, so tell me about your experience at LightFair.
Well, I think it was, I came as speaking. I had a session on some luminaire level lighting controls and HVAC stuff that we're working on, and so that was really great to be able to talk to that. And I think for me, it's been a whirlwind of people wanting to talk about how we can integrate HVAC and LLC, right? And so that's the majority of the stuff that I've been talking about. But it's been fun walking around, getting to see a bunch of people that I haven't got to see in a long time, right? And getting to see some of the stuff that's here. I mean, there's some really interesting things and floating around, some really cool control stuff. I mean, that's mostly what I look at. So, some really cool products that are out there, some really cool things people are talking about. It's got a nice little buzz for what's going on, right?
Definitely. And so, I mean, that is the thing that I like about this is there's just kind of this mishmash of all these different things, and you can kind of pick out and go, oh, here's a controls group, here's a controls group, here's a group that has some controls. Yeah. So, and there is some really exciting stuff on the triple LC side where we're seeing, all of these companies embracing this idea finally, which took a while.
It did. I've been... people tell me I talk about it too much, but, and it's probably true, but I've been talking about it for 10 plus years, and I find that it's fun to go, if I went back 4 or 5 years to whatever conference, whether it's LightFair or any of the other ones, I was the only one preaching the LLC path, and now I go to these, and almost every presentation I go into, somebody's talking about LLC.
Right.
At least the words go out. In the presentation.
They might not understand it.
Don't totally understand it yet, but they talk about it. And if you walk to manufacturers, you walk on all the manufacturers that are putting out general type lighting, not the architectural lighting, but the general type lighting. Everybody has a fixture in their booth that's got a sensor in it and is talking about which control patterns they want to use or control companies they use or what's better and how it works. And so, for me, that's super exciting because it means that I don't have to say it as much. So maybe people will talk less about me talking about it and more about the actual product.
I think you are the face of Triple LC regardless. I think you're synonymous, but it is really great that people are starting to talk about it a lot because, before... I think people didn't see any value in it, didn't really understand it. But I think the other thing, the technology hadn't really caught up with the need. And so we're now finally there. So for people who aren't familiar with the term.
It's so the basic gist is we're putting a sensor in every fixture, right? But then that sensor has to be networked with all the other fixtures, right? So I think that's one of the big things of confusion points is room-based ones where you have a sensor in every fixture aren't technically what we would define as LLC because it doesn't network outside the room, right? We want everyone to talk. It to be networked and for everybody to talk and everybody to have that continuity.
And what's the point of that? Like, what do you gain from doing that?
Well, I think the biggest thing you gain is the data that comes from it, right? And also the fact that that system is talking to one another and you don't lose that connectivity, right? If they don't talk to each other, there's no networking, then you don't know if it's really working the way you set it up to work, right?
No,
and to me, that's one of the most vital things on any controls is that that it's doing what you want it to do.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, why put the controls in, right? Type of thing. So this allows it to be, for you to be able to see that, right, and understand that and get it. But then it has occupancy, daylighting, high-end trim, the networking, and just being able to be out there and having all that and seeing such big savings on the control side, minus whatever you save from changing from a fluorescent to an LED, you get this really nice savings package from your controls. And for me, the other thing where it's networked and the controls is you can really get as granular as you want with the fixtures. You could go down to a single zone if you wanted to, one fixture, right? One end node at it. but you don't have to. You could have it be the same way that it's always been.
Right.
But you get
have the
better
capability.
data and you better understanding of what's in the space. Hopefully there's none of this for the occupancy anymore because there's so many occupancy sensors to pick up what's going on.
Yeah, well, and I think the other thing is it really is kind of enforcing that digital protocol mentality, which a lot of the design and manufacturing community have been trying to move towards, but just haven't succeeded because 0 to 10 for some reason just succeeds so well here.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, obviously we don't say you have to be digital, but the system works so much better if it's digital.
Well, I mean, because
I won't say the 4-letter word of out there that nobody wants to talk about.
Well, there's D4I.
Yeah,
you could say that.
D4I. So I think that D4I and that whole setup, even the Dolly 2 wired version. Most of our stuff we really do push for the wireless version because I think it's better. It really makes the system operate better, and it's more cost effective than having to run wire to all the fixtures and everything.
Completely agree.
But having that digital, that two-way communication thing is so important with this data that we're seeing, and being able to understand what's going on in the system, and knowing that you're actually getting the savings you think you're getting.
Right. No, I think that's all really important. And so, Chris, really appreciate you coming on the show. People who want to learn more about Triple LC might be interested in checking out the Nailed LSC certification. Registration closes next week, so if you want to jump on it now. But we are going to be talking about Triple LC and getting you trained in a Triple LC platform, so definitely worth checking it out. But Chris, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks. All right.